So, about a month ago, I reviewed the movie Fatal Attraction. I'd never seen the movie before. I'd really enjoyed the movie, and I did it in preparation for the show coming out. And finally, the show on Paramount Plus had wrapped up its season this Sunday at the time of shooting this video, and I hated this show. Hated it. And I gave it a fair shake. I watched each episode every single week. But most of the shows I will tell you I'm watching week to week right now, I actually woke up, turned on the episode, and got excited. With this show, it sometimes took me days to start another episode of this show. Because I just don't understand the point of this show at all. I don't know who asked for this show to exist. Um, the only reason I can assume that they made this show is that the original Fatal Attraction has some themes that in some ways are more relevant now, or at least more forward talking points in today's society than it was when that movie came out. However, I don't think this movie or this not this movie this show does a good idea about making that point that I just stated at all. So let's get into it because this show is fucking terrible. I I guess to explain why this show doesn't work, I need to explain what I really liked about Fatal Attraction. Even note some things that I didn't really mention in my review because, frankly, it's weird. You know, after watching this show, I appreciate the movie more and some things that, and I kind of wish I'd said some more things about it in my actual review. I think what I liked about that movie is it was a very tense, tight thriller. Well, this is not a very tense, tight thriller because we're talking about a show now, which means that it's structured like a show. It has to move very slowly. Episodes are at a grueling length. Okay, look, this show at times has lengths of episodes that are close to like House of the Dragon or like Rings of Power a little bit. I'm like, it does not need to be this long. I feel like there's so little happening in some of these episodes at times, so you lose that tight thriller aspect about it. You also lose that subtlety about it because basically now, because this is a show and not a movie, they need to expand the characters, which I think is okay to do, but there's also a level of like in the original Glenn Close's character. I don't know that she was someone that was sexually abused, and that's why she does what she does in the movie. I don't know these things, but being able to infer and interpret these things and it being left to my own devices to think about these things and be left with these thoughts made the movie better, right? My own interpretation of the movie and being able to interpret what I wanted from it and not really knowing all the answers made the movie better. Well, this show does damage to that in my mind because now you understand, oh, this character has this past or whatever. In fact, they don't even want, it's also like, I think there's also a little bit of they were afraid to make this show with the woman being the bad guy. Which is not to say in Fatal Attraction there would she was the bad guy, but what I mean is that in this show, like there's definitely many moments in the show where it she's done things in her past, and it's a this and a that, and so they don't want to. I don't know. It feels like at times they're trying to make people bad guys, but also not. Just in the original, in the original it was a very queer. Man, I am stumbling on my words today. It's a very succinct, quick story about this man who cheats on his wife, has a one night stand with this woman, or so he thinks. Things go wrong. Tight thriller. Here, it adds in all these useless details, pointless stuff, and it's just like, all right, this this show is actually pretty decently directed, though I will say that. But and I think the cast definitely tries, but this our lead actress here, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting her name, but she is no Glenn Close. She doesn't have that captivating performance that literally, I believe it either got her nominated or won her an Oscar. I forget. But either way, that's a pretty big deal right there. Michael Douglas's character in the original is a lot stronger than our male lead here too. I think he actually did. I think he did somewhat actually could pull off a Michael Douglas type performance, but it's still not Michael Douglas, and it just I don't know. Just so many problems with this show. I don't get why this is a show, other than Paramount, I guess, is digging up old IPs to make content for their streaming service. But then it just begs the point of like, why don't you just make another Fatal Attraction movie? Because at least it would have been better than this, right? I don't think it would have been better than the original, but I could maybe see how they could add some things to it. Like I mentioned earlier, the the themes of the original do have more poignant things to think about within our society. Violence against women, um, marital status and what that means. These are topics that are coming up more and more in our society. And they're ideas that are interesting to explore in a film, and and I think maybe you could have talked more about violence against women and how it shapes women into certain types of relationships or things like that or whatever. I could see that how you could expand upon it. This show is not a good example of how to do that, and if this show does get a season 2, I'm not going to watch it. I watched 8 episodes. I'm going to quit here while I'm ahead. I don't really liked what I've seen of this show. I don't really want to see. I don't really liked what I've seen. That's not a sentence. Oh my god, I'm stumbling on a word so bad. I'm sorry, but it's like this show is a mess, and I don't know how to fully encapsulate that in this review, but I'm trying. It's late. I should probably go to bed, but instead I'm recording a review of a show that I fucking hate. I really can't state that enough, by the way. I really did not like this show. I think that there were interesting themes and ideas presented within this show. It just was a mess.